Hi everyone, it's me Gideon and I'm so excited to be sharing with you. Welcome to episode 24. This is a 52-week creative art journaling experiment on my side, and through this process I'm teaching myself a lot about art. As I'm a self-taught artist, I challenge you and show you through my work that it is possible if you persist and you create a little bit of me time in your studio, whether that be the kitchen table, under the stairs like I was for a number of years, or if you are blessed to have some dedicated space for your creative practice. If you spend a bit of time creating art, you will learn a lot about art and yourself, and that is exactly what I'm all about as a creatively fit coach. I love to activate people's creative heart and remind them that creativity is inherently part of your DNA. Well, I'm babbling on because today's prompt that I have for this week is the element of wood. So this is what I created in my art journal this week, and I played on the jelly plate, created some collage elements. I even collected some leaves from my garden and printed with it, and this is what I ended up with. So that quite looks woodsy, don't you think? So that is so exciting. So if you want to see how I created this page, then give me a few seconds. I will turn the camera around and we'll dive right in. Good morning everybody. I'm so excited because today is my last entry into this small art journal of mine, and it is also our final week where we will be playing with the elements. And this week, I hope you can guess it, the element that we are going to be playing with, drum roll, is the element of wood. You've got it right. And I've been playing with this cute little stencil of mine that is the tree of life, and I've also been playing on my jelly plate and just been working with browns and bronzes and colors of nature to inspire this page in my art journal. So we'll see what we will do with those leaves. Maybe one of them will end up in the journal or not, because it might sort of crackle a little bit. So let me just page through some of the material that I created. You'll see I really played with scraps of paper. It's been a mission of mine to sort of finish or use up what I have in my stash, and seeing what I can create with it. So I really did a lot of over stamping and over printing with the browns and the greens and the grays over previously created pages, just to have some elements to play with, you know, because nature, when I observe a bunch of leaves like this lying around in my yard, because now it is winter and the trees are beginning to throw off all their leaves, it really looks like a bed of mottled color and textures, and it's really beautiful and interesting to see how nature can shed what was popular in the summer. Don't you just like these bronze? It almost looks like a forest to me. I hope you guys can see that as well. And this was done on my jelly plate. So everything has sort of a vibe of either moss growing on the bark of a tree, or some leaf patterns that might turn into trees themselves. Here's another one. I just literally used it to pick up paint from the jelly plate, and I quite like how the metallics underneath still glimmers through. These are two little of those off-tape pages that you saw me work with on a number of my episodes, and I really wanted a mossy kind of vibe, or maybe even, you know, autumn kind of leaves with more oranges and reds and browns. Again, I was trying to sort of mimic the moss kind of plants that grow on the barks of the tree. I'm specifically reminded of a tree that we paint underneath every week, oh, not every week, every month, with our Painting in the Park project. And there's one particular tree under which we sit regularly, has the most beautiful bark, and it's so interesting. I must take a photo of it next time we go to the park again. We do take a bit of a break in winter because it's just too cold out in the elements, and even though the daytime might be pleasant here in Pretoria, South Africa, you know, we have to start around 9 in the morning and it's an early get up. So I give everybody a bit of a break in the winter, but the exciting news is that I will be having my first online version. Forgive me, I just had to sneeze and blow my nose. So what I was trying to say is this year I will be hosting my first live event on YouTube. So, you know, my channel's been growing, and thank you everybody for your love and your support, for subscribing to my channel, and for supporting me and joining my community on Facebook, The Creative Heart. I really am so inspired by you guys, and it helps me to keep going with whatever creative endeavor I would like to share with you guys. So if you are interested in this first live free art class that I will be doing, you can check out my live playlist on my channel. You will see that it is pre-scheduled for the 2nd of July, 10 o'clock South African Standard Time or Central African Time. And I'm sure that YouTube will tell you what time the event will be happening in your time zone. And you know, if you can attend it in person, what is going to be exciting is I'm going to be sharing with you guys a whole technique around creating a hamsa. And let me grab one of my hamsa paintings that I am busy working on. Well, actually this one is finished, and you will also be able to see a lot of this artwork of mine on my exhibit that is planned for the 2nd of September. It looks like the 2nd of every month something exciting is coming. That's the way it sounds. So anyway, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create your own beautiful hamsa paintings. And you know, the hamsa is a beautiful symbol that you find across the spectrum of religion on our planet, and it really symbolizes a protective symbol and a blessing for you, and it's also known as the Hand of Fatima. And there's a variety of information that I'll be sharing with you guys beyond the creative process to really personalize this protective symbol for you. And I'm hoping to share this with you guys on my live. So do subscribe to my channel, go to my live where it is already posted, and when you like it, it will put you in the waiting queue and you can ask to be notified when this live starts. And then I've also provided my PayPal link. If you enjoyed the class afterwards, I would really appreciate a bit of a donation. But really the class is free. I'm not expecting anything It's just a lot of my Patreons have said, please provide us with a link so we can bless you, because we enjoy what you offer and we enjoy your time and energy. So thank you guys. I really appreciate your financial support as well. I do need a bit of canvas and art supplies. So if you bless me like that, it will really go towards more art supplies in my art store. So check out this free event that I will be hosting on and live streaming on the 2nd of July at 10 o'clock. I'm really hoping to see you guys there so I can share this with you. If you do attend this class live, and also for those of you who have an open wallet to bless me with a donation, it is not expected. It is just, I thank you for you guys. Those of you who do that will also receive a link from my channel of unseen footage that I recorded with a coaching session during, I was a guide during this year's creative coaching training, and I shared this methodology with my training coaches, and they really enjoyed that. And in that particular class, I also used collage elements like I did with this one. So if you guys are interested to join me on this free live streaming on the 2nd of July, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys then. So back to today. Thank you so much for that selfless, shameless self-promotion. You know, this is really what a YouTube channel is all about. I love blessing my community and inspiring my community. But you know, as an artist, we also have to live, we have to eat, and we have to buy more art supplies. So we do need a little bit of an income and support. And if that is any way possible for you guys, as I'm building my channel towards monetization and having my channel support me financially, it is a process and it is a journey. And I'm just so grateful for my community that I do have here. And over the last 2 years, everything that I've been offering has been absolutely free of charge, with no expectations whatsoever. So really, this is my first live that I'm attempting to gain experience from a longer streaming process. So it's like a live art class in front of the camera. So, you know, I do see why we grow organically, slowly in this kind of medium. And that helps you sort of to gain confidence and to get into it. But I'm babbling on. Let's get into today's art entry journal. And I'm going to be playing with all of these materials that I have around me to capture the essence of the element of wood and what wood symbolizes, the meaning of wood, maybe even looking at wood personalities. I will definitely be opening up my Google search and see what information is thrown at me, because that's always fun to explore. So I'm going to shut up now and pause my video, and when I can come back, I'm gonna just play with these elements and bring everything together, and then I will share a voiceover with you guys with all of this exciting information. I'm just going to sort through all of my elements here, and while I'm figuring out exactly how I'm going to put this composition together, I thought I would share with you a little bit about the wood element. And I asked Google, what is the wood element? Wood element is vitality, growth, and kindness. I really like that. Wood energy is also related to flexibility and human-heartedness. The 5-element system is one of the many feng shui tools used to adjust the energy of a space if anything is off balance. Now, just in life in general, I think our world is so filled with technology, and we're very grateful for that because it makes our lives easier. But you know, we can become sort of, you know, addicted to our technological screen time, and that's definitely something that we can bring a little bit more balance into our world is to spend time in nature outside, and I really liked preparing for this page because I spent some time in my garden picking up leaves and looking and observing all the changes that is happening in this season. So let's see, what does the element of wood mean spiritually? Wood represents wealth, family, health, and prosperity. Woohoo! Incorporating the wood element in your home is essentially using the vitality of the outdoors to create more harmony and energy indoors. Do you have a house plant? How do you represent the element of wood in your interior or in your studio, in your art practice? So I do enjoy my pot plants inside my home. It helps to purify the air, and it really sort of also grounds me because I have to look after them and give them water and see them make new leaves, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, eh? What is the wood element personality? The wood element's positive personality traits are resilience, perseverance, creativity, and imagination. People who are rich in the wood element are often highly motivated and driven to push past the status quo. So growth and all of these beautiful words like resilience, perseverance, creativity, imagination, these are all the things that I aspire to awaken in myself and in others as a creative coach, and resilience being one of the things that I focus on in my Painting in the Park series of program, and that's really always a lot of fun and very uplifting to see how people find and discover that we are naturally all resilient. And I always like to remind people that we are naturally resilient, and our creative practice can always show us more of that within ourselves. What is the wood element associated with? Okay, the wood element, one of the TCM5 elements, is associated with the liver and its partner organ, the gallbladder. That's interesting. When wood is unbalanced, you may experience symptoms such as feeling irritable or angry, headaches, migraines, or high blood pressure. That's fascinating. You see, there's always something to learn. So if you are struggling with maybe feeling irritable or anger, lots of headaches and migraines, maybe you need a little bit more of the wood element in your life, and that is definitely something that could help you bring a little bit more balance. What are the symbols of the wood element? An azure dragon. Although wood is less yang element, it can exist in either a yang or a yin state. When wood expresses masculine yang energy, its color is green, and it's symbolized by a pine tree, sturdy, upright, and enduring. That's so interesting because this is exactly sort of the shapes that I'm currently applying to my art journal here. From a distance, it can look like a pine tree. It has a strong upward kind of shape, almost like a flame. So it's interesting. I didn't even know that that is what it would be described as, but looking at my page, and as it... Right, my page has dried and I've contemplated what I have put together here on my page, and I do think that I've captured the woodsy, woodland, wood-like structures, feelings, textures, and so forth. So I think I'm just going to use a little bit of my oil pastels and some of my inks to just bring some clarity in this design, and I think it will speak for itself. It's not overcomplicating. So one of the things I wanted to do is just to bring my stencil back and Let's see what our little ink pen will do, because I do want to bring out some of this detail over here, but maybe the jelly roll pen will be a little bit thinner. The space in this particular stencil design is rather small, and I just want to bring these lovely little spirals that's in this tree of life design back into focus. So let me quickly do this. Nothing serious, but playful. So I'm curious, what do you guys think of when you hear the inspiration prompt wood, or the element of wood, and what would you sort of begin to play with in your art journal if you have to use the wood element as your focus, and how will you communicate that in your art journal? So feel free to drop me a comment and tell me what inspired you from today's page and this week's creative prompt. I'm always curious to hear what my community thinks and what came to mind for you. Maybe something in this page that we put together today inspired you or made you think of something. So do feel free to drop me a comment and tell me what you think of our inspiration that we've had thus far with the elements, and if you used it in your art journal and in your page, please take a photograph and share it with me on my Facebook group, the Creative Heart. You are all invited to join me there. It's my private Facebook group. That is where I have my community, and it's always fun to share with you guys. So like on a Friday, I have Share Your Art Fridays. That is always very popular, and you know, everybody wants to show me their art and the projects that they are currently working on, and I'm just blown away by everyone's creativity and the mediums that you guys are working in. Some of you work in oil, some of you work in pastels, and there's a variety of mediums and vibes going there, so that's a lot of fun. And thank you so much, guys, for sharing with me and allowing me to be on this journey with you guys. So I'm very grateful, very grateful for that. So now that we've got our outlines together, I can continue to just play a little bit and add a little bit more detail, because sometimes this is exactly what you need, is just a little bit of detail. I'm going to switch to a broader pen now so that these lines communicate a little bit better. There we go. And spirals is definitely one of my go-to symbols. So it's always fun. And sometimes a little bit of this work that we do afterwards with bringing a little bit of detail in helps to fuse the collage elements together. so that it is not so disjointed. And very soon you begin to sort of see one image, and that's always a lot of fun. What are your favorite stencils that you are using in your art studio? It's always fun to see what will inspire people and what they are drawn to. What you find beautiful and meaningful, because that will be different for each of us, right? Quite like that. So now the tree of life that I have here is coming a little bit more to the foreground. I do want to use a little bit of a thicker one still, and just bring these playful lines together a little bit before I play with my oil mediums, because once the oil pastel is on here, it's very difficult to bring detail with inks over that. So these lines reminded me of small trees, but I do want to just bring out a little bit of the contrast here so that they stand out a little bit more clearly from the background. But I also don't want to overdo it, because I do like some of these textures that I have in the background. So I'm just considering, you know, what will help to bring a little bit of emphasis and contrast to this. And I normally do this afterwards, but some of you asked to sort of see my process in how I integrate my prints and my collage papers with the final image that I share. And because I didn't have a very big section on how I created these jelly prints, I thought today I would spend a little bit of time and show you guys how I will use other mediums to just bring the whole design together a little bit. And I hope that you enjoy it and that it will show you that there's a myriad of ways that you can integrate your collage elements to begin to speak and tell a singular story, or to connect your theme a little bit better on the page, especially if your art materials or your collage papers are very busy, or you know, it can feel a bit disjointed in some way, shape or form. You know, many times I actually sit and watch my videos afterwards, and then I go, oh my word, now I recognize something else in the page that I didn't recognize before. And it sort of brings a form of clarity to me, and I think, oh, I wish I didn't cover that up, it looks a lot like this or that. So do you guys also see that? You know, when you working on something, then you're not, you know, not obviously seeing everything. I think I'm going to just connect that line through to speak of this tree trunk going up and out, so that there's a little bit of continuity from these lines going upwards. Yeah, and that sort of speaks of wood bark and tree trunks that is behind those leaves, connecting these lines a little bit. And that's just another reason why I like to play a little bit afterwards with my oil pastels. Sometimes just a little bit of a line or a bit of a color can really bring elements together so that it has more of a cohesive sort of story that it's telling without, redoing the whole thing. Just adding a little bit of detail can be quite powerful. Let me use a little bit of my black and just bring in a little bit of contrast here. And I sort of wanted to also quiet down this corner a little bit by just adding a little bit of my black over it. It's amazing how powerful a little bit of contrast can be. And you don't have to work too hard at it. It doesn't have to be a very super detailed kind of thing. I quite like that. Let's quiet that down as well a little bit. And sometimes I sit for a few days and I stare at this page and I decide, what does it need? What is it asking of me? How can I improve it or add to it? Or is it finished? And there's no rule or law that says once you're done with a page and you shared it or whatever that, you must be done with it. You can't go back to it. It's your art journal. So I'm just going to use this earbud to just smudge this black in a little bit better in the background so that it's not so harsh. And there you have it. Another page in my creative art journal is complete. And I've decided to add half a tree element that I printed and created for this page. I stuck this on the left over my tree of life. I just had to use that. And yes, an actual leaf did make it into the book and into my page, and you can see this copper print that I created from my jelly print on the top left really looks like a tree all on its own. So all of these lines and colors and shapes that I have created, if you look up close, it will remind you of a forest or a grove of some sorts. And then you have the variety and interesting scale differences that really draws the eye. And I've also used some oil pastels to bring some clarity and just to define some of the elements on my page. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I'm really looking forward to see what you guys are going to do with this week's prompt. So don't forget to share it with us on the Creative Heart. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.